I've been loving diving into this track, continuing on from where I left off last week. And you know what's really interesting, right? As I spoke about at the end of last week's video, I'd been struggling to achieve the right guitar tone, yet I'd been very much experimented and diving into the depths of figuring out how I wanted this song to be. And I think a part of what made it more challenging was that I was reviving the song, right? I was reviving a song from a few years ago, one that had just laid in a video on my camera roll, and that I found last week and felt I wanted to bring it back. So it wasn't like starting a song from scratch. It was very much like I wanted the essence of that video, what I liked about that rough, moody video. I wanted that to be in this song. And I think that was part of what was making it challenging. What I love about diving into this sort of thing is that there's always a moment where things fit in, it all clicks together. From then on, it's very rewarding and enjoyable to continue the track or continue the whatever project it is, and fine-tuning it and getting it closer to how you want it to be. Sometimes these things happen with more ease and you can achieve what you want off the bat, right? You can be in that flow state from the start. But with this example, with this song I've been working on, as I said, there was challenges from the start and recording and everything else, and I was dealing with harsh frequencies and trying to achieve the right tone. Yet that moment come, and it was, for me, when I added the bass line to this song, from that moment onwards everything seems to start fitting together, and since it's just been an absolute joy to work on and start taking forward and getting it closer to how I want it to be. And that's the nice part in the process. For me, over all these years, my favourite part of the process when making music is when only I've heard it and no one else even knows it exists, right? But you have that sense of fulfillment, that reward of creating something, and it's a nice feeling when it's going well, right? And you're getting closer to that thing that you want it to be. But even when it's not going well, as I said, there is a moment normally where if you keep going and you keep tapping away at it, something happens, something crosses over and it all starts gelling together. And from that moment on, it's a lot easier, or you flow with more ease of progressing the project and taking it forward. And I love that. I love it when only I know that it exists. I love it when I am so in it, right? Normally the piece of music isn't older than 24 hours at that point, and I just want it on loop. I just want to keep listening to it and immerse myself into it. And for me, all the fulfillment comes at that stage, right? More so than when I share it or if anyone else hears it. You know, that doesn't really mean as much to me. There's like a handing over in that process where you kind of let go of it. I've kind of had my joy of it. I've had my fun with it. And it's definitely in that first 24 hours or in the days where it's so new and you're still figuring it out, you're not used to it yet, there's still quirks in it or nuances in it that you've yet to brush over or yet to dive into, or there's a rawness in it, and I love that. There's a lot in the world that you can focus on that can put your headspace in a bit of a tricky place, right? And time again, I'm reminded that when I focus on the things that really bring me joy and get my mind working and I'm problem solving, I'm figuring things out, and this is what's good even when things aren't easy, right? And they're not coming with ease. It's still a good place for your mind to be in when you're problem solving, figuring things out, experimenting, not just settling for what you've done, knowing that you can get it a bit better or it's not quite right yet. And this is why I love the creative process and why I feel so many enjoy the creative process, and also why I encourage those to dive into it more and more, those that don't have that creative outlet. We're all here to be creative, and it really keeps the mind in a positive place and a healthy place, I find, when you're working on these sorts of things. And it's not just that feeling of being proud or pleased with what you're achieving, because sometimes it's in the opposite when it's hard and it's not quite clicking, yet you keep tapping away, as I said, and then the moment does come sooner or later where it all clicks together and the piece is much more closer to what you wanted it to be, and that's a beautiful thing. I very much immerse myself in this process, and I kind of forget sometimes and I'm reminded what's actually going on in the world and in the headlines and everything else, because when you're in something positive, you haven't really got the energy for all that. You don't really want to be diving into all that other stuff, right? The negative stuff, even if it's drama more closely to you and everything else. And of course there's things in life we have to deal with and turn up for, but there's also things that we put our energy to that don't need our energy and that are just a waste of time and a waste of energy. And I find that when you're working on meaningful things that take that part of you to dive into and that you have to focus on, or you're fascinated by, so you focus on it, your energy and your mind's taken up with those thoughts, those problem solving and the healthy ones, right? The creative things that really get you going in a positive way, rather than your energy leaking onto things that aren't necessary or that are out of your control. And again, this is why I think it's such an important thing for us to dive into these creative projects, these things that we want to birth that come from within us. And as I said, it's not always easy, but I think that's part of the healthy thing, right? Doing things that aren't always easy, or they're difficult, or you're overcoming problems and trying to solve things. I think that's what we're here to do. And using the creative energy that we've all got is also a bonus, right? to then be able to sit back at the end of the day and look at something you've made, or listen to something you've made, and all your thoughts and mindsets been on that rather than things, as I said, that are out of your control. Your focus, your consciousness is going on something that fuels that even more, rather than going on to the negative things that fuel that even more. And this is so true, and this is something that I feel time and time again, or recognize time and time again, is the things that my consciousness is going on to, the things that I'm focused on to, are growing in my internal world, and then also the 3D catches up on the outside world as well. And the same applies for these negative things, right? The more you focus on them, the more you fuel them, the more your consciousness grows. You're putting it out there, and the consciousness of that thing grows. It's just the way it works, right? So I'd rather that be on creative things. I'd rather that be on positive things, and immerse myself in that and allow that to grow. And I think that's what we all can be doing for our own joy and for other people's joy. I've had a real nice few days diving into this track, continuing it on, and then now at the stage of just making subtle changes to polish it up. It's been good fun, recording the bass line, recording vocals. It's interesting with this song. It's quite a unconventional song, I would say, in terms of the structure, in terms of the lyrics and the way that I'm singing the lyrics. Of course, there's a melody, but there's not really a set phrase that I follow each time. It's different, and I think this is because I'm listening to the video, and in the video that I'm trying to recreate, or the song in the video that I was doing a few years ago that I'm trying to recreate, I was just mumbling the words. I didn't have lyrics written down or anything, so it was different each time it come round. And it's been interesting that I've managed to, or the way that I've revived this track, it's still got that, and I like it. So it's a bit different, right? It's probably not the sort of track that would end up in the charts, because it doesn't follow that classic structure of a verse, a chorus, a verse, a chorus, and a bridge, and a really catchy melody. There's something different about it, but I like it. And again, this is the other beautiful thing when you're creating. It can be what you want it to be, right? And be unique with it. Be unconventional with it at times, allow the song to be what you want the song to be. And by me allowing that and going that route, when I listen, there's all these little moments that only happen once, or that are not maybe what I think it would come on first listen, but it's how I like it. And every song's different, and I'd want it to be, right? And this one's one of those. Even the story of the lyrics, there's definitely a theme, there's definitely a story there, but it's a bit all over the place. It's a bit jibbly jabbly, which is quite cool. Rather than it being a straight up story, there's an essence there though, and I know where I was in back then when I recorded it. But yeah, it's been good fun. The track's not finished, the track's not perfect either, but I don't really strive for that. I strive for this process that I'm talking about, that's real good fun and a healthy place to be. And the more uniqueness, the more rawness and everything that's in it, I think the better. Right, we're living in this time where there's so much perfection out there, and it's great in so many ways, right? People have really mastered their craft. Everything's polished and perfect these days, or close to it. And I love that we're at that stage, but it means that I feel more than ever I don't have to worry about that so much, right? I can just create and it be a bit more rough and ready, a bit more raw and a bit more real. And I'd rather that, right, when I listen, something to spark interest rather than it being something that we've heard 100 times before. And that leans itself to my situation of making music in here and not really knowing what I'm doing, but just enjoying exploring and everything else. So that's what it's all about for me. I'd rather have that process and problem solve along the way, and try my best to get it better, rather than just settling for mediocre, but also not trying to get perfect or polished too much, where it loses what I like within music. I was sitting with two friends of mine the other night in a studio session, and one of them's a really good producer, really good producer, and I've been making music a long time as well. And then our other mate is a great singer and rapper and vocalist and lyricist. And my friend was showing us this music that was actually generated by AI, and we was all bigging it up, right? It sounded really impressive. It took a while for you to realise it was actually AI. It's got to that standard, right? And it was quite a strange moment of sitting there, three of us that all love music and dive into music and spending our time making music, and we're listening to this AI generated music that was probably created in 30 seconds, just thinking, wow, it's very impressive. Now that can make you feel like, is it worth it, right? Between us, we've probably got 20 years worth of experience in making music, and we're sitting there very impressed by what could be generated in 30 seconds by a computer. And the general conversation that comes around in those times is, oh, it's a bit depressing, isn't it? Oh, it's a bit disheartening, isn't it? And I get it. I can get why it is. But I feel something different with it. I feel like, no, like we've got something that the computers haven't got. We've got a soul, we've got creation, we've got this emotion, we've got this rawness, we've got these lessons that we're here to learn, and this spontaneous energy that you can take in any direction, and a soul, right, that's guiding us on our paths, and that's unique to all of us. So rather than be disheartened, rather than be discouraged by computers being able to make really good music, I think it's time to lean into what we really have got, right? We've got these messages, these unique messages, and a skill set. And if you stop writing about being perfect or being the best, but just create for the right reasons, and firstly for yourself, and then what you can give to others by sharing it, really allowing the full creation. If things are really perfect and polished these days, and I think there's more room for the rough and ready and the rawness, right? And that can be encouraging for anyone who's at any journey in their creative process, right, to really lean into it and start creating with a different intention, right? More so about being real and being raw, and just expressing your soul and your mission and your message, because that's what you've got that no one else has got. That's what you've got that nothing else can create other than you. And it's time for us to be leaning into that, right, and balancing out the computers with the real. And also whilst learning and using it for tools, I get it, you know. But definitely don't be disheartened by this. Let it allow you to lean into what you've got that no one else has got. And I think that's a very inspiring place to be, to recognise that we've all got this thing that no one else has got. It's unique to us, from the story that we've lived, from the path that we've walked, from the lessons that we've learned, from the people that we've met, from the emotions that we've felt, you know, let alone all our different traits and nuances in our voice, in our words, perspective, how we see things, you know. We've all lived and go through very similar experiences, yet no one has experienced it from our angle, with our character traits. Yeah, we should lean into that more. With that now being said, let's dive into how this track progressed and where it's sitting now compared to last week, when I was very much in that place of overcoming the difficulty and the problems that this project was throwing at me.
Walking through town with your dreams coming towards you. What you gonna do when they walk into you? You gotta keep on going, round and round. You gotta let go of what's been holding you down. It's holding you down. What you gonna do when your dreams come true? The sounds are around and they're floating through. You gotta keep on going. You found a crown. Take a stop and see what's happening to you. To you. Keep on going. The feeling the rain. You gotta let go on to what's holding your pain. You gotta keep on walking towards what you want. You got a message to give to places through your sound. Got your favorite record on the turntable, making sounds through the grooves, going round and round. And what you gonna do when you're walking through and your new truth found, and those sounds going to your ears, straight to your ears. I remember walking to the spring.